Alright guys, let's look at AT or Baby AT motherboards. Most of you may not be familiar with AT and Baby AT motherboards, but the PCs that were around in the late 80s and the early 90s, even all the way till the 97, 98 era, most computers were AT form factor, and they used motherboards called AT motherboards. The picture you're looking at, this is a baby AT motherboard. A full AT motherboard would be a little bigger than this. And if you notice, it has just a big round connector for a keyboard called an AT keyboard. And all the other connectors that you may be quite used to are not there. And those were provided as headers on the motherboard. And then you connect those through cables to the slots on the back of a computer. And later on, the ATX motherboards came around where all those were on board, so you could use those slots for different purposes. In this example, this motherboard can use the first four slots here are for 72-pin SIMs, and then the top two slots are for 168-pin SDRAM DIMMs. Most of the AT or the Baby AT form factor motherboards use the socket 7 CPUs, which is the original Pentium 75 all the way to Pentium 233, and AMD K6 and the K6-2 to a maximum of 550 megahertz, and some Cyrix processors too. Um, this is another example of an AT motherboard, and whoa, that was a not so good warning. I'll have to check the system. Anyway, you see here, this example shows you the various connectors that are on a motherboard and how to recognize them and identify them. Now, if you have a need for an AT motherboard, it's very hard to find them. But there's one place which is on our configurator. If you go to interloper.com, right here as we see it, and then on the left hand side you'll see a little link for motherboard search, and that will bring you to this detailed page. Here you can search on all kinds of options for motherboards. Now if you're looking for AT motherboards, you click on AT, and let's say you wanted a socket 7 motherboard. Even there were some socket slot 1 and some socket 370 motherboards that were AT, and that's pretty much where it ended. So let's say we're looking for slot 1, which was a Pentium 2 or a Pentium 3 and AT motherboard, and we want that to have two ISA slots. Those are again legacy technologies that you may not be familiar with. Okay, and then we say, okay, list those, and here we go. Here's a whole bunch of motherboards that are either AT or Baby AT and are slot 1. That many. Look at this, 2 pages full of motherboards, and then you can click on the link for more detailed specifications. So I hope that helped. And legacy technology, while you may think it's long gone by and you don't need to look at it, you'll be surprised. A lot of applications still use them. So I hope it helps you.